Hey guys, I'm Mr. Locked In, or Mr. No Sleep, or whatever you guys call me. Glad that you guys enjoyed the previous video for the one that we did a zero cost support E2 servo zero cycle for anomaly arbitration. This will definitely be my final early access video. I just kind of want to show you guys my thought process behind the sustainless Welt main DPS zero cycle that we're going to be doing on the next upcoming MOC 12 rotation, which is going to be featuring our Kafka. Is it the next MOC 12 or is it the current? No, it's the current MOC 12 rotation. Kafka doing our E6S5 Welt with a E2 Sparkle on DDD, RMC as well as Cerydra. I'll break down to you guys the run a little bit towards the end and the analysis and the differences between a E0 as well as an E2 Sparkle. So without further ado, alright, zero cycle first off with our relatable remembrance. So this is going to be the very first try. We are going to be using our Trailblazers technique because this does give us a time stop which will push their action values a little bit later so that they don't really hit your team. The goal for running a Welt main DPS is essentially do not want to take any hits because we do have our weightless, the action value delay, as well as the additional turns provided by Sparkle as well as RMC. So the builds I'll be talking about a little bit later, but the speed tuning is going to be a little bit strict. So you always want to make sure that your Cerydra goes before your Sparkle so that you can always generate this one additional stack before Welt takes turn, right? So Cerydra should always be faster than Sparkle. So this will pull out my Welt. We're going to power scale. Activate Cerydra's ultimate right now so that you do not get any energy wastage, because when Ryan takes his skill, you're going to be giving Cerydra additional energy, right? So from our very first skill here, you want to make sure that you do not pop off this energy before it's going to be too early. So from this particular moment, we can give off our Sparkle ultimate just so that our Ryan does get the additional damage from Cypher as well as the defense down. And as you can see here, after we activate our skill, we're definitely going to be getting one a little bit close to 100, but we will get exactly 100 the moment he hits us, which will give me the instant action value advance to bring out my Welt into the cycle over here, which means that once we get this true damage buff from Mimi as well as the crit buff, you can see that my crit is pretty much more or less going to be 100%, and then with our 4-piece diver, this is pretty much definitely going to be at 100%, and you can see the damage over here is going to be very substantial. This is not too much, but this is going to be the main thing, right? So after casting our ultimate, Cerydra pops off the one additional charge stack. We're just going to pop the skill for 1.57 million into 1.63 million, which is a absolutely ridiculous kind of damage. Then we're just gonna put this back up, do the exact same thing all over again. Okay, and then for this, RMC is gonna go for the basic so that we can get a little bit more skill points. Alright, so Welt over here, we're just gonna pop open our RMC ultimate. Then we're once again gonna cast our ultimate first. And then we're gonna go ahead with our skill, which should pretty much just get rid of this guy almost definitely. So just pop this. Okay, he's gonna be done. Then Sparkle pulls us up one last time. Mimi is gonna be going for the punch. Cerydra is gonna be going for the skill. And then for this particular moment, I would say it is going to be pretty ideal here to just instantly. You could either go for the instant basic, and then you can bring up Welt Yang's turn immediately in the next wave, or you can just bring him up right now. So you want to store this so that you can bring him up and maintain the true damage buff. So I'll show you what I mean. We're gonna go for the basic. Elation buff is going to go in. So from this particular moment, because I'm going to be able to charge my RMC skill, this will give me Mimi's additional energy for the next ultimate, which means that I want to prioritize getting this up faster instead of, like, for example, just wasting the AV advance, because when we go into the next wave, we cannot give Mimi energy immediately because it's going to be stuck somewhere between 90%. So this will give us the instant turn for 1 million. Instantly pop open our Kafka ultimate, or rather Welt's ultimate for the delay, apply weightless, and after we apply weightless, then a Cerydra ultimate will then further push Kafka back before every single time we hit our Kafka. This is going to be another 4% action value delay, which is going to be very nice. Then this will then cast our Cerydra skill again on Welt for 8 out of 6. Sparkle pulls us back up. Once again, we can just pop on our ultimate because I want to maintain my 100% buff coverage. Even though we missed the DDD on Welt it's going to be okay because we have RMC to pull us back up later on anyways. So this is going to be an absolutely whopping 1.9 million into 2.1 million damage. And the reason why this damage is so high is also because you can see from Welt's Retribution, this is stacking. Right, so eventually this later on will become 100%. So our damage can only go up from here. Then from this point, we're just going to be going for the basic. for a little bit more charge. Mimi goes for the punch, and then Sparkle is going to bring me back up. And you can see I'm very close to my Welt getting his ultimate here, which is literally just 1 energy away, which is just really unfortunate. But because we are pretty much almost never going to be able to get hit, this energy doesn't really have enough RNG factors, right? So we're just going to pop the skill, instantly cook our ultimate, and you can see Kafka just gets delayed all the way into the next wave. She literally cannot take a turn with your DPS sustainless Welt, right? So that is like the entire methodology of why you want to run main DPS Welt, because if you can run this sustainless, they will just never move, and you'll just do so much damage that they'll just pretty much just die. So from here, we're going to activate our skill, getting us a 67% AV, which is going to be fine, because when Mimi punches, we're going to be getting enough energy for our ultimate. And Sparkle pulls us up one more time, which is going to be very nice. Now, extremely important, you want to make sure Cerydra gives us the additional stack, so that when Cerydra gives us a stack, RMC pulls us back up, so that Welt can cast a skill twice instead of once, right? You do not want to waste this ultimate before Cerydra. So the moment this goes in, let Cerydra apply this one more time, pop open an ultimate, which gives us a skill point refund. Then from here is where we get our additional RMC, pulling us back up. Mimi is going to be able to give us his Welt, and then we can just take a look. Very satisfying damage, assuming that the bounce is going to be right. So I mean, it's going to be double skill, so it's definitely going to be a kill. And if we do not kill here, then we have the ultimate to just hit this. I guess we can use this for the intro. Yep, so that is going to be our very quick and dirty E6S5 Welt Wheel of Humanity 0 Cycle Showcase. So the speed tuning is going to be seen as this over here. Almost no speed with 82% crit rate and 169% crit damage. That is in fact going to be his own signature Lycone S5. If you do have an Acheron S5, you're most likely going to be able to deal higher amounts of damage. But I would say that his S5 actually does give us a considerable amount of damage as well, because of the additional damage, and the EHR conversion also gives us a little bit more value out from his original trace, which also gives us the additional attack, right? And then besides that, we also gain even more just purely from raw values, from damage, attack, as well as EHR. So if you have this S5, this is definitely going to be a viable Lycone to have. Radix is just going to be the 4-piece diver into 2-piece Routine Arena. This is very important, especially at the very start. If you do not have enough energy regeneration, you're not gonna be able to cast your ultimate for the first wave, right? If you just want to focus more so on damage, you can definitely just go for an attack percentage rope, purely just from a DPS perspective, right? Because you can see our damage just now was very high. So if you don't really care for it, and if your Cerydra duplicate skill procs is gonna be wasteful, so for example, if you're really close to max energy, then this energy regeneration rope doesn't really do too much for you, so you can just go for the attack percent. This is gonna be our E6S5. Sparkle is gonna be seen right here at 167 speed on 4-piece Eagle. This is the classic formula for any zero cyclists, any leaders. You will know that 167 speed with 4-piece Eagle and S5 DDT will give you an effective of 200 speed over here. Going for the 2-piece Von so that we squeeze in a little bit more action at the very start. One very important thing is this is going to be done with an E2 Sparkle, which I'm going to be showing you guys in just a moment. But essentially, this additional 30% defense ignore, because it's 10 times 3, it was a ridiculous amount of DPS upgrade, especially when you combine this with a little bit more of the attack buff as well, which I'll be showing you in a bit, right? So I just want to say the defense down stacking from Sparkle E2 as well as Welt base trade, which is going to be 40% defense, right here, right? So this will be a 70% defense ignore. I did not activate my E1 Cerydra, but if you combine this with E1 Cerydra, this can go up to essentially 86% defense ignore, all the way to 100% defense ignore on bro skill, which is just absolutely absurd amounts of damage. In fact, if I were to activate this Cerydra right now, I'm almost absolutely sure we can hit for like 2 million per skill on the very first wave, and maybe 2.3 or 2.4 million per skill in the very next wave. You know what, I might just do this as a bonus, so that's pretty much going to be that. And then this is going to be our RMC, which is going to be E6S5 with the Harder Lycone. Doesn't really matter that much, it's just going to be there to give us the additional turn for the additional damage. Then Cerydra is just going to be at 179 speed with the 4-piece Cerydra and the 2-piece Von over here. And the reason why Sparkle is going to be slightly faster is going to be because of our E1, but as long as you make sure that Cerydra is going first, then it's going to be fine, right? So with that out of the way, let me just show you guys first the damage with an E2 0 sparkle, so they can see the difference for ourselves right here. Okay, so this one was done with our E0 sparkle, so you can see our damage from our black hole in the very first is going to be 293,537. So that's going to be our black hole damage, and then you can see our double skill damage is going to be recorded as shown over here, 1.19 million and 1.2 million. And then you guys can see just now from our E2 damage, we actually have this one right here as well. I'm just going to skip to this part. Our black hole is going to be coming to 349,000, and our actual double skill damage is going to be going up into 1.6 million as well as 1.58 million, right? So generally speaking, in terms of raw damage amplification, you are getting roughly 400,000-ish between the damage, which is roughly a more than 30% damage increase on every single skill, right? So whenever you pop a skill, and this is before bro even gets his retribution buffs, which is gonna make his damage scale up even higher as the battle progresses, which is why I say the defense ignore stacking on Welt is gonna be extremely potent, right? So I'll just do one last showcase since we're already at it, which is gonna be, you know, my final early access video. I'll pop open the E1 Cerydra, and you guys will just see how much damage that Welt can actually do in this next portion. Alright, so this is going to be our final showcase, which is going to be the bonus. There's going to be our Welt with the added E1 Cerydra. So kind of just want to show you guys the damage differential from the E1 to E0 Cerydra. Previously, we were doing 1.58 to 1.6 million with a Welt skill. Just to kind of see what ballpark we're going to be at in this moment, right? So pop this, pop this. Honestly, if you want to, you could activate Sparkle's ultimate first, which means that my Cerydra will do maybe a little bit more damage if it crits. So that's gonna be that. We're gonna pop this. Okay, I literally just realized because of the delay. You know what? Maybe this actually just still works. So we're just gonna play around and see where this is. Still the same double skill. So now our damage is gonna be at 1.9 million into 2 million damage. So that is with the power of the E1 Cerydra, which is going to be very nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this right now. We'll pop this again. Pretty much almost no hit. So Welt is just gonna stall everyone once again, pulls everyone down. I really hope that this skill doesn't deal too much damage, so that okay, that is good, that is good. We at least held it a little bit. So this is gonna pop this over here. Okay. The damage split looks a little bit off because we didn't pop over our Amy, I think. But I think this is still gonna be fine because once we come in over here, instantly pop over our Sparkle ultimate, instantly pop over our Cerydra ultimate, and then we are gonna instantly pop in our Welt ultimate, right? So all this is just gonna be the additional damage. The reason why we did it is because we added the Welt technique instead of RMC, which is why the AV looks a little bit strange, but I think it's gonna be okay. So this is gonna be a double skill at 100% defense ignore, 2.4 million into 2.5 million. So bro literally almost did 5 million damage as a E6 S5 standard DPS, which is, once again, I think that's absolutely disgusting and obscene. So what to do brings us back up. I don't think Kafka is actually going to be able to touch us because we are about to get 100% AV advance again, unless she straight up just dies here, which is also going to be a viability, right? So this is going to call me, oh my goodness. So now that we have this, I actually want to save this a little bit. So we're gonna pop this. Mimi is gonna go. Sparkle will be able to pull out my Welt, which at this point is just gonna be overkill. You can see that we have a lot of turns remaining. Just gets off the additional skill point, pops over a skill, and that is gonna be down to 1.7. Brings this back up. We can just go for the basic. Activate my Cerydra ultimate. Activate my RMC ultimate, and then we'll see if we can do like a cinema ending to just let Welt pop over one final big blast. I mean, Kafka already died because we really did way too much damage. So I'm not even gonna out. Just did a double skill, right? Okay, we couldn't even use a second skill, so that is pretty much the difference between an E0 into an E1 Cerydra. Sorry, I messed up the speed tuning a little bit. It didn't really matter at the end, where I ended with Welt technique instead of the RMC technique, right? So as usual, this is definitely going to be my final early access video. I'll look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Word of the day is gonna be one last video. Join this code. Use code POKE if you gamers up or about. See you guys next time. Bye bye.